Welcome, everybody. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, you are in the right place at the right time with the right people. I have not missed one of these calls. You guys, these calls happen the first and third Tuesday of every single month at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And these calls are the calls that are going to show you how to build your business. Like I used to say, the meat and potatoes of how to build your business. You are going to hear from several executive consultants who are making anywhere from 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month, and they're going to teach you exactly what they did to get to where they're at. And I mean, these are all my heroes. I'm going to tell you, like, these incredible people are the reason why I'm at where I'm at. So just for any of you who don't know me, my name's Candy Kreslak. I've been a part of LifeVantage for 6.5 years. I have 4 kids. I have one grandson who was born on my birthday a couple months ago. Like, I am so blessed. But you guys, 6.5 years ago, before LifeVantage, I was working my guts out. I was working as a registered nurse. I was trading my time for money. I was working 60, 70, 80, sometimes 90 hours a week. I was exhausted. I didn't feel good. I had a chronic disease. I needed something to change in my life, but I didn't know what that was. Do you know people that feel like that? Or maybe that's you that feels like that. You're living in that hamster wheel of life and you're surviving and you're getting up every day and you're doing the same thing on repeat. You know you're meant for more, but you don't know how to change because you can barely get out of bed. That's where I was at. And then somebody shared this information with me. And it was the first time in a long time that I felt like I had a little bit of hope back in my life. And I thought, what if? You guys, I watched that ABC Primetime investigative report, and I know that probably all of you have seen it. And if you haven't, please watch it. But I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, if this is real, we're going to change the world. Everybody deserves to know about this information. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that movement. I want to be a part of something that's bigger than I am as a person. So, you guys, I jumped in. I jumped in because I saw an opportunity to, one, help more people in a bigger way, and two, I saw an opportunity to create a leveraged income and get time back with my family because I had missed out on raising my kids. When you're working that much as a registered nurse, I didn't want to miss out on any more time. I didn't get to be a stay-at-home mom, but guess what? I can be a stay-at-home grandma. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Like, you figure out why you have kids. You have kids so that you can actually have grandkids. Anybody else grandparents on this call? Like, that is how it goes. You guys, I walked away from my job as a registered nurse. I do this full time. I got my health back. I feel better now today than I felt when I was in my 20s. And this is so much bigger than we are as people. You guys, this to me is about empowering people. This is about loving on people. This is about meeting people where they're at, pouring into people. This is about helping empower people to become the best version of themselves, helping them heal on all aspects of their life, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And this system that you're going to learn about tonight on this Building Depth call is exactly what you need to know to build this business. Because Marcel Niederhauser came up with the five principles, I was going to say 15, five principles and behaviors of this Building Depth system. You guys, systems don't fail, people fail systems. So if you follow this system, and then there's five skill sets needed, and that's what all of these executives are going to talk about tonight. So get everything ready. Get your paper out, get your pencil out, and get ready to take notes because what you're going to hear from these executive leaders, we are going to start with group three. We have Kristen Taylor talking about the system. I'm going to be talking about the presentation. Dave Madison is going to be talking about the compensation plan. And then we're going to have Chris Smith is going to talk about stay in control of your business. Cynthia Greenewald is going to talk about the follow-up. Mark Harris is going to talk about promoting. Dan Mollering is going to talk about overcoming objections. Summer is going to talk about inviting. And then always do what you say you're going to do is going to be Miss Sarah Smith. And then we have an amazing presidential consultant, Marcel Niederhauser, who's going to close out the call. So you do not want to jump off early. Stay on the entire time. And thank you for being here if you're on the East Coast, because I know this is a late call for you. But let's get started. I am going to hand this over to Miss Kristen Taylor, who I have had. it's been so amazing to be able to grow with her and to hit the executive ranks and to be side by side, locking arms with her and moving forward and helping more people. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Kristen. Uh-oh. Is she on?
She was on, she dropped.
Oh,
Let's go to the next one and we'll come back to her.
well, I guess you guys just wanted to hear from me again. Okay, I'm going to talk about the presentation. So, you guys, the presentation is very simple. It's three components. You want to talk about your story, which your story is where were you at before LifeVantage came into your life? What didn't you like? What did you want to change? And then you're going to talk about what you saw and why you made the decision to say yes to LifeVantage. And then you're going to talk about where you're at now. What has LifeVantage done for you? What has it done for your life? Has it done for your family's life? How have you been able to impact other people? And so when you're talking about your story, you're trying to relate to people. Right? You're trying to relate to people along the way. When you're talking about the company story, you're talking about LifeVantage is a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. You guys, we're a 220 million debt-free company. This company, you're talking about Protandim. You're talking about how we have the only product known in the world that can reduce your oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. Like, how amazing is that? You guys, we have 29 peer-reviewed studies that are third-party initiated and third-party funded. You're talking about the timing. You're talking about how we're on the ground floor of a company that's going to revolutionize the way we do healthcare. You guys, wouldn't you want to be part of a movement? I truly, honestly believe that this is the best opportunity that has crossed our paths in our lifetime. And it's if you see it and decide to take that leap of faith. So you guys, when you're doing that presentation, it doesn't matter how long it is. You can do a presentation in 10 minutes and you can do it in 25 minutes, but you just want to cover all of those key components. You want to lead with the business and you want to tell them all of the information so that they can make an educated decision for themselves. You guys, if you lead this information in the presentation with the product and the person decides that they can't take the product or maybe they can't afford the product, then your conversation stops right there. You cannot come back in with the opportunity. You have lost your opportunity to share it with them. But if you lead with the business and the opportunity and you paint a picture and paint a vision for them of what they could do with their life and how this could help them and how we could help solve a problem for them or bring you know what I mean? If you lead with that, then you can always default to the product if they don't want to be a part of the company. So I would really encourage you. I promise you guys that 6.5 years ago, if somebody would have came to me with a product that was going to help my chronic autoimmune disease, I wouldn't be on this call talking to all of you right now. I'm so grateful for Summer Smolik telling me the whole story because it gave me a vision to get time back in my life. We can't make decisions for people. So share the whole story, lead with the business. We need more voices. You guys, if we want to get this company to $1 billion, we need more voices and customers don't talk. We need more people talking about these products and this company and the compensation plan. The compensation plan is our best product. And I'm not the one talking about that tonight, but you're going to hear all about it. So I'm going to pass this over to a mentor of mine. He has been, I've looked up to him since the day I met him. And you guys, when you hear from him, he's going to blow your socks off. He is incredible. So I'm going to hand it over to Dave Madison from Monument, Colorado.
Miss Candy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think that was a great explanation on presentation and why that is so important to actually educating people to move forward. And you're so eloquent in how you explain that. I really adore that. So congratulations. Um, Welcome everybody. My name is Dave Madison. My wife and I reside in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Monument, Colorado. But we have been blessed by this opportunity for a number of years. I think one of the biggest reasons we start to analyze compensation plans, um, I think we all walk into that arena of realization to say, um, I'm going to spend a lot of time doing X, Y, Z, and I need to know if that's going to be justifiable. I need to know if it's going to be something that is worth it long term. And one of the biggest reasons why we decided to get back into this industry after we spent our youth, as we were starting our marriage, Joe and I, and got introduced to this industry, and I just couldn't figure out why somebody wouldn't do this. If you do it once and you get paid for it over and over and over, it's like, okay, I can wrap my head around this. Why wouldn't everybody else? Well, I realized quickly that not everybody gets the aspect of being an entrepreneur, being responsible for your income structure. We're used to being told that other people can produce that. So when we're actually in this process of relaying a message to people on what they can do to achieve something of great success, sometimes we have to teach them that, this is different than what we were taught in our high schools or in our colleges, etc. So don't be afraid to actually communicate with people prior to going into these numbers. Communicate to them why this is so endearing. Why is this going to be something beneficial? Why is it going to be for everyone? And one of the reasons why, based on some of the elements that we've pinpointed in the development of this comp plan, is this is something that can literally pay you long term forever. I can tell you unequivocally, I have people in our organization after 17 years of playing this fun game called LifeVantage. I can guarantee you there are people, because they've been on it for 17 years, they're not going to get off of it. They're never going to get away from this project. They're never going to, they're going to go through seasons of life where they're actually going to show people this opportunity, the presentation like Candy talked about with both product and with the opportunity. But yet, at the same token, we need to be in a place where we can actually assist people with understanding that this is something that can pay us long term. So for me, I come from the engineering background in the construction world, the HVAC industry, large industrial engineering stuff. And I worked on a business model of building and developing relationships. I think in this portfolio, it's the root foundational element of creating all success. Now, that means that we have to have a development program within our compensation that allows that to be successful. So, here are some simple things that I talk about when I talk to people on the everyday. People that are literally unaware of the industry, have preconceived notions. I can guarantee you 98% of the people that you are talking to have the wrong impression and understanding. Okay. And because of that, we now have to be the explainer. So what I talk to people first and foremost is the simplicity aspect of you're gonna know some and realize for yourself some great assets that this product is going to do for you, XYZ. However, we're talking to individuals about how it came into their life, however it happens, you're going to facilitate that conversation to give them the reasons, maybe I should take this. And I'm going to spin it immediately into a place where, okay, I'm going to know somebody else is going to do this. I know the guy that I signed up yesterday. I can tell you we don't have a meeting set, but we do have the already ensuing conversation with his dad because his dad's going to want this. But they're also at the retirement age, and he's got a retirement father that needs this, and he's also himself in a place of in 10 years I want to retire at 50. Okay, then we should talk about this. Because at some point, we have to get people in front of why this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And so for me, I love to talk about the immediate bonuses that gyrate up just because you're talking about it and people are going to be buying the product and you're going to actually facilitate that. And you get over $4, $5, $6, $8,000 worth of volume, you're going to have a 30% check coming your way. You just figure anything. People can understand a 30% discount just as easy as they can understand a 30% commission. So 4, 5, 8, 10,000, 10,000, that's a $3,000 check. Everybody can put those numbers together really quickly. You don't even have to really communicate them to the elements of the gem bonuses, whether it's going to be a sapphire or a diamond, etc. That doesn't mean anything to them. The relationship of numbers is what they're going to understand. So that's the first thing I bring to the equation. The second element I'm bringing into the equation are there are people that are going to try this product, and you can assume the fact that people are going to want to communicate that. If somebody compliments you because you look really great, He was like, yeah, no kidding. I got a hold of this really good greens product for I got it for a Christmas gift. And I love it. And it actually is making me feel really good. I don't really know why, but I can tell you I've lost 8 pounds. Not a bad January. Before long, you're going to be quote unquote giving people wisdom and knowledge about a something. Well, there's a structure to how LifeVantage has developed this proposal for everyone, and it's very concise. It's very simple, and I'm going to get the opportunity to work with people in multiple levels of my business, and they're going to pay me handsomely for that. And I'm going to then turn around and in the conversation talk about making an extra 20, 30, $40,000 a year makes a big difference because people keep ordering that product month after month after month. Before long, it calculates to a lot of money. Even if Pepsi turns around and throws, a quarter or a dollar or $2 bill into a Coke machine, and they make a penny on each one of them, you can only imagine after the week or the month how much that Coke machine is making for that Pepsi company, etc. Right? Oh yeah, okay. Well, that's what's going to happen here. And I'm talking to people that are making not only two, three, $8,000 a month. I'm talking about 30, 80, $130,000 a month because of a business that they have developed over years. And then I talk about the third phase of the equation, which is the legacy aspect. Because you're participating in a time right now that there's an opportunity for you to participate at the level of corporate side, you're going to be a part of like owning stock from the past, like a Microsoft or an Apple stock, etc. You're going to have the opportunity to not only get revenue based on what your organization creates by them purchasing it, but I'm also going to get it from the companies or the countries that are asleep right now. I'm going to be dealing with countries in Japan that are 12 hours difference from us, etc. I'm going to get paid on everyone else's organizational volume along with my own. So I am building and developing a team that everyone can be benefiting from all of these circumstances. So for you and I, there are many ways where we can bring this into equations that are useful for you and each one of us. So when I talked to the guy yesterday, yes, he says I'm looking by 10 years. I want to be done with this. Great, you'll be 53 years old. Great, I did it at 43, but we can do it for 53. It's not a problem, but I had to retool myself. And so that contact that I was signing somebody up as a personal customer because I did not know them at all. And the person that referred me, I spoke to him 17 years ago. And he walked out of the YMCA, which is a brand new YMCA in town, and he met the guy. And 3 hours later, that guy called us. That's a, I'm so glad I talked to that guy 17 years ago because he referred me and I got him to buy some for Tandem. 3 bottles right off the bat. He says, let me get after this and then we can talk to my dad and then we can talk about all these other products that I know I'm gonna need. Perfect. In the meantime, right? So now I have already instilled in him there's a huge opportunity that exists with this. And that is what I'm sending him now as follow-up procedures because he's going to be on that product for a few months. But the follow-up procedures for me is to bring him into alignment to realize the dynamically explosive position that we are in this company. So for us, we are always talking about this opportunity. We are always talking about the wealth that exists behind it because it's blessed my wife and I and our kids and our legacies for years and years and years to come, along with all the people like I'm looking at right here on this screen. So with that, thank you, Candy. I'm going to rip this off. I think I'm sending it over to the beautiful Miss Sarah Smith. Are you next, Sarah? From the great state of Utah?
Chris, we're gonna do
Chris
Chris
going to
next.
Chris? I'm going to
Yep.
Chris first? All right, Chris.
Yes.
Hey, handsome. I got my
Hey,
first day of skiing in. Not
you
with you,
did.
but
Yeah. We
I'd
don't
rather
have
have
any
it with you.
snow here in Utah. There's no snow. It's unusual, but thanks, Dave. That was awesome. Yeah, I love those wrap ups of the compensation plan to just get our head around, how big this can be and how simple it is to talk about that. So my name's Chris Smith. As Dave said, the better, more beautiful half is Sarah. You're going to hear from her later. And no background whatsoever in network marketing before we came here. I was a construction guy, light construction, residential construction, general contractor. Prior to that, worked in the mountain sports industry. But nothing that I saw that lent to really understanding how to take this to the levels that Dave was talking about. It was this system and these other leaders here that taught us how to do that, how to understand going beyond selling products, which has got a pretty low ceiling actually in this industry, and really learning how to build a business. So, and for that, we're forever grateful to be part of it and to learn how to have done this thing right. So I get to talk about tonight one of the principles we teach. We teach five. This is one of them. Stay in control of your business. So it's multifaceted. I'm only going to be able to hit a few things. This is why we want people to attend events to learn all the facets of all the principles and skills. But I'll give four. And for a starting point, you're running a business. So this would kind of refer back to commissions and what Dave was talking about. Be commission qualified and teach other people how to do that. That's 300 in sales volume. I won't go into all the details of that, but it's pretty simple. It's your account and a customer account, and the combination of those two accounts being 300. And there's a number of ways to hit that bar to have control of your business, but learn that and teach it. That's the first step in understanding and actually leveraging the compensation plan and it's a business, stay in control of your business. You want to have as much control of that. That determines your qualification all the way to Pro 10. And anywhere along that road, you don't want to miss a paycheck because you're not qualified. So I do, it's kind of overlooked, but I think this is very, very, very important to know, be an example of, and teach if we're talking about business principles, staying in control of your business. The next two are measurable, and they refer back to the other principles, which are your meetings. It's a measurable metric, 15 or more, and attending events. Are they in your calendar? And after those dates go by, did you actually attend? Were you there? These are things you can show your team by example, okay? And others will be able to follow. And then the fourth thing I'll touch upon is kind of you know, this more ethereal angle of this thing, and it's about building relationships in your group. That's the one thing you have control of. We don't manage people in network marketing. It doesn't work like that. If you've been a manager in another job somewhere else, it's not quite the same. If you've run a volunteer organization, you would know what that might be about. But there's an aspect of this where you go down, you build relationships down in your group with people where that's very natural, where there's a rapport for on one level or another, business or lifestyle or something like that. And then if you work with a strong enough team, you have the ability to actually influence and affect more people that I might not be able to resonate with and build a relationship with. Others in that line, upline or downline of me, might be able to, or that message might come through some of the other leaders they hear here at Building Depth. So that's kind of my take, four little aspects of staying in control of your business and in talking about building relationships and having this kind of what I call like a lightning rod of leadership. I get to pass this over to one of my really, really dear friends and business partners. And we've been able to grow in this business together, probably learn a lot from each other over working together for a few years and starting to build that lightning rod, because we do come from really different backgrounds, so we can actually build relationships and affect a lot of different people throughout our teams, and we have been able to over the years. So with that, I'm going to pass this over to executive consultant and my good friend, Cynthia Greenawalt. Cynthia, where are you?
I'm right here, Chris.
Oh, there
Thank
you are.
you
You just appeared
so
on my
much. That was so powerful what you just shared. I am over here taking it in, always grabbing notes, always up leveling. Thank you for being one of my biggest inspirations, Chris. And we actually do have a lot in common. For many of you might know that we both have the elite athlete background. So we have a lot of respect for that sort of commitment to the vision, even when we don't feel like it. That's one thing I have noticed about athletes. It's 5 a.m, it's freezing out, and they're like, well, I don't want to run, but I'm going to get up and run. There's something about that commitment. Like that was me swimming. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to swim, and I did that for 13 years, different times, depending on the coach. And sometimes I don't feel like it, but I had a bigger goal. It was always about my goal was bigger than my comfort. And I think that's what Chris and Sarah, when they shared the business with me, they're my enrollers, my background. I was running 3 companies in Manhattan, and I was constantly working. I did do that one thing where you pick work you love. So, quote, if you always do what you love, you never feel like you're working a day in your life. Well, that is only said by someone who thinks you must always work. So I was doing that. I thought, well, I got to always be working, so I have to find something I love. And I was doing coaching and mentoring, and clients told me I'd change their lives, but it went to 0 every January 1st, and I'd have to do it all over again. And I almost missed the fact that I was in a trance until I had this flash forward of what happens if my dad has a crisis. He's in his 80s and he's in the middle of nowhere in New England. And I was like, wait, am I in a position to be able to drop everything for 4 months if he were to need me? And I thought, uh-oh, I would be in a very bad financial predicament. So that was my wake up, was this imagining. It was very interesting that it wasn't a crisis. It was this kind of realization that it was possible. And I said, okay, I'm a slave and I don't like it. I'm going to find something. Thought it was going to be something else. And that's when the universe put me and Sarah Smith together at an event. Actually, it was a person we both know invited us to meet at this event. And it changed my life, I will tell you. But I know I met her because I was asking. And that's what we're saying here. We are looking for people who are looking. My topic is follow-up. And it's really interesting because I was looking, but I thought it was something else. And if Sarah had not continued to nurture and cultivate me as a little seedling of possibility, if she had allowed my being busy thinking I knew what I was supposed to be doing, I wouldn't be here, because she would have said, well, I guess she's sort of successful over there and she's really not taking action very fast on this information I'm sending to her. And she didn't stop, because she was nurturing that. She knew I was playing big, and she knew I was in a business model that was going to burn me out. Eventually I'd wake up. That's actually how I look at this. I share this business with people, and if I hear a sparkle or some kind of wow, that's my favorite way, as I showed this the ABC to a friend, like right in my first 2 months. I've been here 7.5 years. So the first 60 days I was in the business, that's when I made my list of 100 and just wanted my favorite go-getter visionary friends to know what I was working on. Figuring only 5 out of the 100 were going to say, let's do this. So I was looking for 5 oysters out of the 100 in the bucket, 100 oysters in the bucket. I figured 5 to have a pro. So I was good with that. That's statistically what I'd learned in this industry. And I didn't have any problem with 95 going, go sin, great for you. I was actually prepared and okay with that, so that I didn't have my kind of say, what do they call that? Your I need you breath. I didn't want anyone to think I was like expecting them. I wanted them to choose what was right for them. And they knew that I wanted them to choose what was right for them. And one of my friends saw the ABC, and he literally said, in a little restaurant, we were having a tea or whatever, and he yelled, wow, right when the ABC ended. And the whole restaurant looked over at us. Do you know that 3 years I followed up with him? I invited him to an event. He couldn't make it. A few months later, I'd invite him to something. Then the pandemic, so I invited him to virtual stuff. And I just kept saying, oh, there's this speaker might be, I know, like, just come learn some more. That was following up. I just kept fanning the flame of his wow. That's what follow-up is for me. I heard the spark. And my job is to fan that flame so that it doesn't get snuffed out by the wind of their hurricane lives. Do you guys, anyone you know who trades time for money? They're living the life. Their life is a hurricane. Their life is a madhouse. They can't even think straight. They're losing this. They're canceling that. They're tired of any little mishap throws them off. And that literally is going to be the rest of their lives. And I know that. So I have compassion for the madness that is the hurricane of that trade time for money life. And I know that what I'm bringing them is a possible answer. So I stay with them until maybe it's 8 touches, maybe it's 12. That guy, it was like 3 or 4 touches a year for 3 years. And it was really interesting. He had to say no so many times to these events that I was invited to. I didn't say, come do the business. Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to order? I never did that, even though he said, wow, how do I get my hands on this? I just kept saying, come learn more. I know you got a lot going on. Just kind of pop your head in and get connected and just kind of see what I'm doing. I invited him to a virtual thing. I planned a little gathering on Zoom. Sarah Smith led it. And he said, wait a minute. I have said no to you so many times. I'm going to move my schedule around to be on your Zoom on Friday at 1 o'clock. And Sarah did her beautiful little half hour or little overview. Had like 4 or 5 guests on. And he texted me the minute that Zoom ended. He texted me. He goes, oh my God, how do I order this now? I can't believe it's taken me so long. And then his health changed. He did join the business, but here's what he said to me. How is it that you never gave up on me? He goes, I would have given up on me. I'm in sales and I would have given up on me. And I said, do you remember what you said to me when that ABC News report ended? He's like, that was what, how many years ago? I said, it was 3.5 years ago. He goes, I don't remember. He didn't remember saying, wow. Because when people are moved by something, it's like an emotional, what? He was like, whoa. But it's not like that sticks around like a memory. I had to fan the flame, and that's how I treat everyone that's in my little LifeVantage garden. Even your consultants are part of your garden. Sometimes I just call and say, how you doing? Sometimes people say no to me in the business. Like, really, I don't want to do this. But I don't drop them. I still stay in touch. And I'm actually planning a little girls get together for all the women who've said no to me in the business. So they know that I didn't just drop them because they said no. So it's really, this is a gardening, following up is like fan the flame of our hearts, of our honoring of another human being, like so they feel heard and seen, and be compassionate, be detached. So with that, I am so excited to turn it over. My phone just like blanked out. Of course, how could I forget who comes right after me? The baton is going over to definitely our joke is he's my brother from another mother. I'm his sister from another Mr. Mark Harris. You have been a source of inspiration for me from the day you stepped on the stage at LifeVantage Academy, where I saw you speak when I was just what was I then? I was a Pro 5, which we call an MC2 now. So you were a big part of my mentoring. I'm going to hand it over to you, my dear.
Yeah. Thank you, sister. It's always a privilege. It's always hard to follow Cynthia with anything. I remember that day, that event like it was yesterday. Cynthia distinguished herself by during recognition, she grabbed out her phone and walked to the side front and started taking pictures of other people. And I thought, man, who does that? Leaders do that. Exceptional leaders do that. People that are preoccupied with elevating other people. And Krista and I have fallen in love with Cynthia Grunewald. She's awesome. Thank you, Cynthia, for that. If you've gotten value from this call tonight, how about a little pop quiz? Why don't you drop that nugget in the chat, which is really quiet right now, at the risk of you not listening to what I have to share, which is super important. I'm joking. And if you're brand new, let us know. Hey, I'm brand new to LifeVantage. We would love to love on you as well. There's a lot of things you could be doing tonight, and you chose wisely. You chose well, especially if you were able to grab Blue's podcast interview a little while ago. Thank you guys for sharing tonight. My name is Mark Harris. I'm married to the lovely and talented Krista Harris. We are lifetime ministers and missionaries. We served with an awesome nonprofit called Youth with a Mission for most of our lives. Still committed to vocational ministry in all kind of forms, including performing arts. And we found LifeVantage, or LifeVantage found us through Krista's mom, who is a well-respected author and speaker and counselor and just all around awesome lady, Jackie Shepard. And that phone call went something like, hey, we need to talk. Hi, Mom, Jackie, how are you? Hey, when's your next day off at Home Depot? I said, I'm off Tuesday. I'm working on a project. What do you got? She said, can you be here at my house at 10 o'clock on Tuesday? And can you bring your wife? And I said, you mean your daughter? And the rest, friends, is history. I met a young man by the name of Seth Campbell that day with a whiteboard and a Macintosh computer. And I watched an ABC primetime investigative report, and our lives, our trajectory was forever changed. We had no idea what we were doing. No idea. Never wanted to do network marketing. We avoided it like the plague until we saw what we saw. And as you know, since you're here, you know what we saw, something completely different. This company, this product line, this opportunity, this culture, this community is completely different than any other network marketing company we had ever been exposed to. And we'd have been exposed to a lot. We were everybody's prospect power couple, and we hadn't wanted nothing to do with any of that. And I don't look good in a bikini. I don't really want a Lamborghini. And so LifeVantage found us. Here's how we had success. We started doing one thing a day. And our upline, our support team, started asking us, were we coming to San Diego? I was like, do you always start conversations with crazy questions? What's in San Diego? Well, the big corporate event is in San Diego. I'm like, well, and I had a pretty strong preconception about what San Diego and what corporate events look like. And I said, no, thank you. I get 2 weeks off of vacation a year. And part of that will not be in San Diego for whatever hooting and hollering kind of convention thing you've got. Well, because they had the compassion and the tenacity and the trustworthiness to follow up and follow up and follow up, to Cynthia's point. They persisted, and we went, and it changed my life. It changed my perspective. So my topic tonight is on promoting. And of course, events is a big part of that. We started watching the people that were having success in our upline and our crossline people around us. And there was one consistent factor, and it was the people who made the time and invested the money and the travel to go to these events where the light bulbs all come on, my friends, not just product. And that happened for us. And those events were the X factor. So my encouragement for you is, if executive consultant is on your why list or on your vision board or on your goals list, may I propose that you carve out the rest of your calendar with the events, the building depth events, the corporate events that have already been published. And we do that as soon as they're announced. We go to whatever that event is in our calendar, and we block that event. I've got 2 weddings actually this year that are going to be tricky and conflicting, but we always do that. But tonight I want to add a little extra value to the topic of promoting, because absolutely events are non-negotiable if you're going to have success in LifeVantage or any other network marketing opportunity. But there's another perspective on promoting, and I want to segue off of what Cynthia just shared as well, because you never really stop inviting, and you never really stop following up, even once people become consultants, even once people become customers. If you care about people, that's what good leaders do, right? Because life doesn't stop lifing on them because they join LifeVantage. In fact, there is a period of in aeronautical terms, it's called max Q, max dynamic pressure, where they're still working. They've still got kids. They still have dreams and aspirations and bills. And now they're trying to build a home-based business in LifeVantage. And not everybody says yes. And we all know that. So a good leader continues to follow up. And we're promoting the behaviors, these principles that you hear on these calls, first and third Tuesdays, and other trainings that LifeVantage has. We're just incredibly biased about these. We promote the information, not just part of the information. We promote the gift, the opportunity, the unbelievable chance that we offer people to actually change their life. We promote that, right? And that changes the way we offer the message. That changes the way we give an invite, right? The way we perceive of promoting the opportunity for somebody to actually change their life, to transform their well-being, to transform their family circle, right? Their socioeconomic level, their friends, their personal habits and behaviors, their goals, their visions, their whys. We promote trustworthiness, and that's one of the things we'll talk about on the principles and behaviors. We always do what we say we're going to do. And that faithfulness over time conveys trust, right? And that's the thing that people will follow. People will follow charisma for a while, but most people over time will follow trustworthiness. And so by promoting that behavior, of always showing up, always being faithful, always being consistent, no matter what, right? Good, bad, indifferent. We resolve concerns, we answer questions, we follow up, right? We help folks make a decision. We call that closing. We promote our team. We promote this. We promote this community. We promote these leaders. We promote the system. Absolutely, we promote the company, and we promote the product. Sure, if you don't know why the product is so remarkable, 6,000 years of recorded history, nobody's ever been able to do what our product does, right? You should know that. We promote our leaders, this tribe, the LifeVantage field leadership, remarkable culture. We promote our daily methods of operation. We promote income creating activities, not just activities. There's a difference. We promote the profession of network marketing. We promote beauty and order and abundance. We promote leveraged income. If you're not conversant in leveraged income and how to communicate that, you're not going to be very good at presenting the opportunity, because that is the key factor. As you're talking to people who are grinding it out, working side hustles and 2 jobs and 3 jobs and still not making ends meet because they don't have leveraged, and we do, right? So yes, we have a remarkable product, a transformational company, but more than that, we have a bona fide way to create leveraged income for the common man. And then finally, for me, one of the things that is so good to be in this community is the idea that we promote one another. We promote our team up and down, cross line. We affirm, we recognize, we edify. And that, friends, you can't buy. You paid $1,000 to get in if you bought the business pack. And if you were a consistent LifeVantage distributor over time, if you're going to have success, you need to learn the skill of promoting people, right? And you have the ability to do that. It doesn't cost you anything. Recognize, notice people, affirm people, especially the ones that are working, people that are praiseworthy. The people that do that really well, the people that have success. And so it's my privilege to promote my buddy, although he is a New England Patriots fan. It's a good month to be a New England Patriots fan. My dear friend and brother, Dan Mollering, executive consultant from Boston, Massachusetts. You're up, buddy. What you got?
Thank you, Mark. It's very tough to follow that. It's been years since I've been able to say it's a good time to be a Patriots fan right now.
Congrats, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's kind of been a wild ride. Still not going to jinx it. Going to hold my breath until it's over. But thank you so much to each and every one of you leaders that have taken the time this evening to pour in to the groups. In my opinion, this is the crux of what makes LifeVantage work, right? This is where the rubber meets the road. These principles and behaviors, when applied consistently over time, will give predictable results. So thank you for taking the opportunity to pour into yourself, to learn from these amazing leaders that are willing to pour into us. So I appreciate you taking the time, especially those that are on the East Coast. I overstand the time difference. So thank you for your commitment on being up. So for those of you who don't know who I am, again, my name is Daniel Mollering, coming to you from just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And I've been with the company now for going on 17 years. It's kind of amazing when I stop to think about that. And I listen to the incredible leadership that is on this call, because these are people that have either been side by side with me coming along with this journey, or people that have already accomplished that journey before me, that I had always looked up to, that I now view as peers. And it's just been an incredible ride. And again, hats off to each and every one of you leaders. The leadership skills that you guys possess, your ability to present information in an intuitive order so that people can understand it, whether you're 8 or 80, is remarkable. So I just want to thank you guys for that. So background on me, I came from a construction background. Most of my life I was swinging hammers, bending nails, climbing ladders, and loved what I did because I'm a tactile kind of person. I love taking things apart that weren't working and then putting them back together, or fixing a problem that was an issue for somebody, helping them do something that they couldn't do on their own. And for me, that talent involved climbing very tall heights that people weren't willing to do. So, I enjoyed doing those kinds of things and those tasks in construction, but also realized that I was a slip, trip, or a fall away from complete and total financial ruin. And so I was looking for other opportunities. Network marketing was definitely not on my list. Blue Elam and I were kind of talking about this morning about when we're sharing this information, and you never know where that conversation is going to lead, especially when it starts off with a scowling brow and folded arms. Right? Like you never know where that's going to be. I was that guy. I was that guy that was sitting there just grilling, like, yeah, that's not going to work out. However, I'm glad that I toughed this out, right? Because what I found is the most humane way to ever make a living that I've ever seen. I simply cannot be successful unless we help other people be successful. So for me, it just really leveled the playing field, and I was all in, right? So when I was introduced to it, I didn't know what to do. So it was when these leaders that you're hearing from tonight brought in this system, those 5 simplistic principles and behaviors that anybody can do. It's 15 presentations a month or more. You're staying in control of your business, which means staying in control of the flow of the information, your emotions, et cetera, so on and so forth, right? Always doing what you say you're going to do, even when you don't feel like doing it, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Attending the trainings and promoting, and you're doing that until it's done. Right now, through that process of learning that and doing that over and over and over, you are going to learn some other skill sets. And with that, it's going to be like you heard tonight about the presentation, or learning more about the compensation plan, learning more about the products, learning more about how to follow up. And tonight, I get to talk to you about overcoming objections, right? Because here's one thing that I know: obstacles are always going to come in people's lives. Right. And because of that, there's going to be a trepidation of how they're going to receive information, especially if it's something that they've never done before, especially when it seems like something that sounds too good to be true. Because if you're anything like me and you saw that news piece, that ABC Primetime Investigative Report, you're thinking, if that's true, I'm going to kill this thing. And this is going to be absolutely amazing if it's true. Right. So I think what we're seeing when we're having the individuals that are sitting like I'm sitting right now with the folded arms and scowling isn't necessarily because they're trying to eat your lunch or pick it apart. I think they're just really wondering the one important thing when they're seeing this information for the first time. Can I do this? Is it real, and can I do this? Is it real is answered by how, our science certifications patents on a publicly traded company. You can go look that up. Is it real is very verifiable. Can I do it is answered by how effective we can be by getting people into a training program that is extremely simplistic. The more we overcomplicate it, the more we try experimenting, the more we start bringing in outside voice, and rather than just learning from those that have walked the talk about what we're talking about here and actually accomplish those goals, once you start doing those things, then that's where the magic happens. So when I'm talking about overcoming objections, you're always going to hear the same ones. It's finite, the objections that you're going to get, and it usually stems around the fact of, is it real and can I do it? Has anybody heard, I'm not a salesperson? Right? Like, I'm sure we've all heard that. Well, I'm not a salesperson either. That's not what I wanted to do to get into this. We're not here to sell you anything. I'm here to share information with you. This train is going. I'm here to change lives. I found the perfect vehicle to save my family from complete and total financial ruin, impervious to market fluctuations. Do you want to come? All right. I don't have time. I didn't have time either. I was working 100 hours a week. I had 5 minutes in between, jobs or phone calls that I had to plug this into. But what I found is that because of the system I'm plugged into, I have a support team that is willing to match my level of effort. So for every 1 hour I can apply, I've got 10 other people on my support team that can match that hour. So my hours of effort are exemplified by my support team, right? Well, this sounds like one of those things. That was me, right? Like, let me show you why this isn't going to work, because that's one of those things. Well, tell me about that. You must have experience, or have been through this, because you must have a story, right? What do you mean by one of those things? Well, my cousin's ex-roommate's brother's, sister's boyfriend tried one of those things 25 years ago and didn't make any money. Okay, it's really, again, those objections that you're hearing are not whether or not they're trying to poke holes in it. It's a test of belief, whether this is real and whether it works and whether it's going to work for them, right? So any objection or obstacle that you're going to face with regards to pushback on this business or this product or whatever that may be is just a test of your own belief. And quite honestly, people want to be led. And in today's world and today's society, people need it now more than ever. And they want to go and follow people who know where they're going. Right. So do not take objections as like a shot to like, oh, they're not interested and this isn't going to work because I can't answer that question correctly. Even if you don't know the answer, the best thing that you can do is just be an example of the system that everybody's been talking to you about tonight and say, listen, let's follow up with this. I don't have that answer because I'm still learning. But this is what I found because of my support team. We can go get that answer together. Right. That is going to give more sense of security and comfort than just kind of rattle off some answer off the top of your head. Right. Be authentic. Just address the concern that they have by relating to what it is that they're bringing up. I understand why you would feel that way. I felt the same way as well. Right. But what I found is that by working in this in the nooks and crannies of his already busy life, Mark Harris was able to hang up that orange apron over at Home Depot in the very small nooks and crannies of his life, right? So I hope that's helpful. You could do a whole symposium just on overcoming obstacles, right? Like every one of these topics that you're hearing about tonight, folks, you could literally go on and on and on about. In fact, we do that. And we're going to be doing that this month, actually, in St. George, Utah. So I would recommend getting there. If you had value from this call at all whatsoever, I would recommend getting to St. George at the end of this month, bringing as many people with you as you can, because you're going to be hearing from not just the 9 leaders that you heard from tonight, but many, many more that have earned anywhere from 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month in this company. Okay, not in theory, not based on what might work in the industry, what they did here. Right. And if you're ever curious as to, where you can find trainings on the go or where you may be able to find out where the next live training is going to be and you want a one-stop shop, go to buildingdepth.com, click on events. It has every corporate event that we have listed, the dates, locations, and times. Every Building Depth event that we have, dates, locations, and times. Every LifeVantage Academy that we have, dates, locations, and times. Registration links and everything. Guys, that is a one-stop shop for you guys to be able to have a resource, right? We're trying to simplify these things to make it easier for all of us to get off the selling product train and get this company to $1 billion already by sharing the whole picture, allowing people to make their own decisions and get their objections answered. That's really what it is. So I hope that's helpful, guys. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm going to pass this over to a dear friend of mine that has been a master's student of this system and has just been an inspiration to me. One of the most powerful leaders in this company, a phenomenal friend, a phenomenal mom, a phenomenal wife, and a phenomenal business partner. So I'm going to pass this over to Executive Summer Smolik out of North Las Vegas. Take it away, sister.
Thank you so much, Dan. Oh, we've run out of some Susie cues around the house. So if you could help us with that, that would be really.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I already planned on it.
Okay, perfect. All right, that would be amazing. That's a whole other thing that happened in 2020. So thank you, Dan. As strangers become friends and friends become family. And thank you to all of you guys, all the leaders on the call and all of you that have showed up for yourself tonight, because this program and these leaders have completely changed the trajectory of our life. And at the beginning of this, you guys, I was a burnout medical device rep, which means there's a lot of times that I was working 80, 90 hours a week, traveling 4 states, and I'd been gone from my family. So I had been divorced, lost all my friends, had no children in my mid to late 30s, and I was burnt out. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced, who's experienced burnout before? It was Mark. He's like, yes. I felt him come through the camera on that. Yes, you guys. My body was failing. I was on my hands and knees, hoping, wishing, wanting, praying for something to come in my life. My topic is the invite. So here's the thing. I'm burnt out. I'm traveling by myself. I was driving 7,500 miles a month and covering 4 states, the big ones. And I had 17 people in my phone when I started this. So here I am, the greatest man in the world shares this information with me. It blew me away. I threw my credit card at him. I said, I'm in. I don't know what I'm in, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And all of those things that Dan just explained that people would probably say all came out of my mouth within 2.3 seconds because I had buyer's remorse. Have you ever felt buyer's remorse? I think I buy something and then I try to hostage negotiate how I'm going to return it, but still keep it, maybe at a lower price. So that all of these things. And Rob says to me, he goes, Summer, just pick one. Just pick an excuse. They all work. Just do that. Well, part of the reason why is because my level of confidence in what this was very low because I have never done anything like this before. My confidence in myself, I know who I am. I know all of it. To be in my career choice, I had to know who I was or I'd get eaten alive. So here I am going, I don't know what I'm doing here, but the only way that I knew how to get better was to just go throw myself out there and go figure it out along the way. I went through 17 people within a day and a half. So I had to learn very quickly how to connect with people that I don't have a relationship with. This all depends. Your invite, when you're approaching somebody the very first time, depends on your relationship with this person. The beginning of it, I called my sister, sit down, shut up, and listen to what I have to say. Second invite was a friend of mine. I've solved all the world's problems. Now, this is my personality. You be you. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to, Cynthia's laughing at me. Don't, hey, it works. She sat down with me and had coffee. I go, we're going to meet for coffee at 8 o'clock. She goes, you solved all the world's problems. Yes. Come to find out, I was really good at less is more because I had no idea what I was going to say. But then when I got a little bit more braver, then my invite went from 70 seconds to 3 hours because then I was in convincing mode. You guys, I was a train wreck. When you want something bad enough, you're going to find a way. If not, you're going to find an excuse. And I wanted this yesterday. I wanted the heck out of corporate America yesterday. And this was my way out. So I went and threw myself in front of the train and said, all right, that's why I have scars. Do you see the scars on the side of my face from the amount of times I've crashed and burned? But we have a collagen that makes it look really good now, so you can't really tell. But you can't prejudge people. This is a problem. Who am I going to invite? Well, I'm only going to share a product with them. Oh, no, they're only going to do the business. Oh, I'm only going to talk to them about this. Let me tell you something. You don't know. What I do know is 3.5 years involved in this business. We've been involved almost, we haven't made it there yet, 10 years now. I can't even believe that was crazy. But if Candy Kreslak was approached with, oh my gosh, we have this beautiful product, you got to go hear about it, she would not be hosting this call today. But she had a friend of hers say, would you just support me? Would you come over and just support me? Now, on the back end, I got 4 phone calls from people saying, please only talk about the product to Candy. And I said, okay. So I do whatever it is that I'm going to do. And I shared the whole story. And she caught the vision of that. You guys, do not prejudge people. You don't know. If you start talking about product, you start talking about LifeVantage during your invite, I'm telling you what, you are doing a disservice to the people that you love and care about the most. Why? Because they're going to make a decision based on just a small percentage of the information. That's not fair. Our little girl would not be here if Rob only shared products with me. I would feel great. I would love it. I would use these products every day for the rest of my life, but I would still be burnt out. I would never be a mom, and I'd never be able to be with the greatest man in the world every moment of my life and to be able to make an impact in people's lives bigger than me. I hope that makes sense, you guys. Please don't prejudge people. But here's the thing, you have a solution to any problem that anybody has. Be a gift, be a blessing to other people. Find out what their problem is. Family, occupation, recreation, money. It's called form. Find something in there. I got really good at asking questions. I didn't try to convince people at that. I was waiting for them to tell me what it was they were looking for. And then I would say, I could help you with that. I could help you with that. We got to get together. And then I'd set up a time with them and I would then share the whole story with them, centered around what they told me that they were looking for because I have a solution to their problem. But it's critically important to not only practice, know that you're going to be really bad at the beginning. I really sucked at this. But pay attention to the interactions that you have with people, because I came home one day, I shared this with 20 people in 4 days, working 80, 90 hours a week. Don't tell me that you don't have enough time for this. It's what your priorities are. I walked in, I threw my jacket on the ground, I looked at Rob, I said, I quit. People are dumb. How come they can't see this? They're idiots. How do you not understand what I'm trying to share with you right now? And Rob just looked at me and he's like, oh, okay, go quit. Okay, so that lasted 6 hours. Because if not this, then what? If not this, then what? I went to a training. I heard from Skip Campbell, presidential Skip Campbell, who said summer. He didn't say summer, but he was talking to me in front of the room, but not to me. Does that make sense? And he said, your invite, if you talk longer than 70 seconds, you might as well share the whole thing with them. And in my head, I thought, oh, a 3-hour invite doesn't work. Oops. Ha! It's so important for you guys to go into the training so you can hear the same message, but just in a different personality. The only way you're going to get better is to practice, make it about them, schedule a time, and sit down. Do not throw up all over people like I did. Learn from my mistakes, because you are doing them a disservice, and that is not fair. I'm going to pass this over to one of the greatest angels that has ever been on this planet. She shines. She's brilliant. She is my sister from another mister, and I love her dearly, but I'm going to pass this over to Miss Sarah Smith.
Oh, thank you, Summer. Oh my gosh, you guys, have you just taken nuggets? I mean, I love each and every one of these leaders on here tonight. I get super inspired and fired up like every time we're on this call. So super grateful for their leadership, mentorship, and what they're bringing to this call. Drop some fire in the chat if you're taking something away. I'd love to see that. So for those of you that are brand new to this call, welcome. This is the place that you fill your cup. You can leave with, tangible things to put into play tomorrow, right? And I think that is something that all of us, if we've been in for a while, maybe we've forgotten, right? But we are so super excited you're here. And my background has been in the healing arts as a medical massage therapist for 24 years. Chris and I have been with LifeVantage now, kind of working the business for 14. And I have to tell you, it's a similar story. We had a health crisis, having us take a look at actually the science, but the nurse practitioner shared with us the entire vision of the company. And as a matter of fact, she held back the bottle of Protandim for a whole week. And we were really sick. She's like, the company really needs us to explain exactly why this is different and put in your bodies. We were like, that's really odd. We're going to buy a product from her today. Like, why can't we leave with this? It's lowering our inflammation, all this stuff. So the gentleman she brought back, he was a farrier. It was his first presentation. And you guys, we saw the vision. It was like Candy Kreslak's story. We saw the vision. And if it weren't for that presentation, we'd be feeling really good, but our bank accounts would not. Our life would not be on this trajectory. So we are super grateful that we're here tonight, that we were shown the entire vision, and we still take the products every single day. And once we realized that somebody was going to make a small percentage off the bottle that we were taking every single month, we were going to figure this business out because we could go out and find some more Chris and Sarah's. And so we saw it. We plugged in. We had never been in network marketing before. This is our first run of. Honestly, it's like the principles and behaviors you're learning about tonight was our lifeline. These events, the quarterly events, the corporate events, if we did not attend those, we were not attending, our schooling for this business, network marketing. It's not taught anywhere else. This is about rewiring our brains to actually work together in a team and leverage and be our own CEO all in the same breath. So my topic tonight is always doing what you say. And I have to tell you, always doing what you say for me in the very beginning was okay, I'm going to show up to these events. We committed, we drew that line in the sand right out of the gate. And we were we're going to every event and we're going to figure this thing out. So we knew that always doing what you say was really good. Well, as you're growing a team, you're going to have that person that lives a few states away that's like, come on, we're going to start this meeting. We're going to have this great meeting. We're going to invite the masses, and you're on your way there. And you're probably 20 hours into the drive. And then you realize, well, they don't have any guests coming, and you are still on that drive, and you're thinking, should I just turn around and go home? Well, this was kind of the first learning. And like, if you don't feel like doing it, you do it anyway. Whether it's a networking event, that's through the snow, that's, that is going to be a good thing. If you're feeling that inkling deep inside, like, I don't know if I should really go to this, show up anyway, get there anyway. It's that showing up for yourself and holding yourself accountable with the things that you're doing right out of the gate that builds that self-confidence, that builds that self-appreciation and self-love that we all need in this business to actually thrive. The other piece to this is that people follow integrity. People do not follow wishy-washy. People do not follow somebody who's not fully honest. Like, people follow integrity. And really, it's about the self-awareness of, others, of yourself, clear boundaries, clear communication, managing expectations. You guys, we are not here to promise somebody who's not going to plug in a big, bundle of money. Like, yeah, you can come and you can use this vehicle to make, millions of dollars. It's like, okay, like, let's manage people's expectations properly so we're not letting them down. So they know exactly what they need to do to build this business when it comes down to the behaviors and showing up and attending the events and the numbers of presentations, like the things that need to happen to find success. And that is something that, a lot of people in the industry sometimes, they blow things up or they puff it up a little better than it actually is. You got to be real, you got to be honest, and you have to walk your talk. And so that means if you're growing a team, you go to events because your team is there. If you're growing a team, you're enrolling people like from pro zero to or pro consultant to presidential. And these are all really important. So when proper principles are taught, people will govern themselves. And that is so important. I'll say it again. When proper principles are taught, people will govern themselves. And that's actually, this idea of always doing what you say develops leadership, builds the firewalls, builds the relationships and trust. And so with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I could go on and on. Love you all to pieces. Thank you for showing up for yourselves tonight on this call. And I'm going to send this over to my brother from another mother, if we're going with the theme, but, Rob Smolik in Las Vegas. He's a businessman. He's a father. He's a husband. He is like, talk about integrity, talk about walking the talk. He and his wife Summer absolutely are that example in this industry, in this company. So over to you, Mr. Rob Smolik.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you. God, what a great call, everybody. Kristen couldn't jump on, guys. I'm just filling in for her. So I got systems. This was kind of supposed to be the first thing they kind of plug into what all these guys said. But I remember hearing the systems for the first time from Marcel, because we met Marcel in Missoula, Montana. We had been in a short time, and he came to Montana, was teaching a training, and me and Summer sat in the front row. And I remember he spoke about the 5 principles and behaviors, a system. And to me, it just seemed like common sense. Like, it just seemed like common sense. I've had 30 companies in 25 years. It just seemed like common sense. And when he got done, I was like, you're telling me if I do those 5 things? He goes, yeah, give me 2 to 5 years. And I remember saying, I'll give you 4. But I'll do what you teach, but I'll 10X it. Then I pointed at Summer, I go, because that beautiful little blonde over there wants to have a baby, and I'm 51 years old. I got to get this thing done, right? I couldn't play games. And so the first thing he said is, Rob, get this information in front of 15 people or more a month. Now, remember, Summer said when Summer joined me, she only had 17 contacts on her phone because she went through a divorce and deleted everybody. And I was like, what? You don't have 17? I go, really? Okay, give me your phone, because anything more than 17, I'm going to delete them because you obviously don't know them. And she handed me her phone, and she only had 17 contacts. So I was like, and that's why, you guys, we went through 17 her first 2 days. And oh no, except no, her mom's sister, and her sister all got involved the very first day. And that's another story. It was pretty funny. But 15 or more presentations. I can tell you 2 times in this company, we 30x that. And I can tell you that's the 2 times we made our biggest ranks. I remember just before Candy got involved, we did 190 some presentations one month, and we hit the first executive position. A couple of years later, we did over 300 presentations between the 2 of us, and we hit two executive positions that month. And you can't, I don't know if anybody could keep doing that. Like, I lost my voice a couple of times. Summer lost her voice. We were kind of getting sick, but man, our business was exploding. And I just saw, people doing the 90-day run. So 15 or more presentations, guys, it's numbers. If you're doing 15 or more presentations, and that's not just high in a grocery store line. That's not a presentation. You tell your story, company story, and how you get paid. That's a presentation. And then do a proper follow-up. Second thing, he says, Rob, just be a person of your word. I'm like this, like, always do what I say I'm going to do. He goes, yeah. And I go, I think that's why I've been successful. I do that. And he goes, you'd be shocked at how many people don't. I was pretty shocked at how many people don't a couple of days into this. I was like, wow, not a lot of people are a person of their word. And so me and Summer we spread steadfast in that. I've gotten in trouble so many times when people are on the call with us and I'm saying, dude, if you join me right now, I'm buying a plane ticket. I will be out there this weekend to help you. And they might live 1,000 miles away. And they would join me. I think a lot of times they're just checking to see if I am a person of my word. Well, my wife would hit me, we'd buy a plane ticket, and we'd fly off to wherever Timbuktu was to go do this. But always do what you say you're going to do. I've heard it so many times on this call today. People will follow you if you do that, right? They will not follow you. You could beat your chest till you're blue in the face, but if you're up there preaching and you're not doing the walk, they'll quit following you. They'll find somebody else that's got that integrity, that always does what they say they're going to do, that are in the field, that they're walking the walk, not talking the talk. They will find those people. If they want this bad enough, they will go around you and they will find those people that they can follow and that are there for them. Third question, he said, Rob, just stay in control of your business. I'm like, man, I do that. Like, I was a massive micromanager in all my companies. Like, man, I could do that. And a lot of the staying in control, guys, is like here. Like, I heard some of these guys talking about football. I was like, it's football season? Hell, I spent all my time building my business and trading and changing people's lives. It's football. That's cool. My team is Candy Kreslak, David Rao, Chris Shaw, Lee Ranger, Tasha Ruddle, Angie English. I'm like, yeah, Barbara Callahan. That's my team. I don't know who's playing football, but that's my team. And that's just the front page. That's who I go after. That's who I cheer on. That's who I go for, because seeing those guys' lives change sometimes on a daily basis, that's how I got my heart back. I had no heart when I got involved in this 9 years ago. My son died in my arms. I was divorced and paralyzed all in the same year. I had no heart. It was ripped from my chest. But this business changed me, and the people in this business changed me. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And that's why I come at people really hard. They don't have to like me, but I could change their life if they let me. And then he said, Rob, you got to attend all the trainings and conventions. He goes, I got 3 college degrees. He said, what'd you do to get? I go, well, I attended class. He goes, well, you need to attend class here then. Like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we have 2 calls a month, first Tuesday and third Tuesday of every month. Okay. He goes, it lasts a little over an hour. Learn how to do this from some of the top earners. Okay. And then he said, then we have a convention or 2 a year. Go to those. Learn how to do this. Me and Summer got so fanatical about that because we were working over 200 hours a week between us with my businesses and her job. We thought, man, if we can't attend, we need to get our people there. And then he said the last one was promote. We feel like we're the best promoters there is. Like, we promote, because if we can't make it or if something happened to us, we wanted our group plugged into everybody on this call, that they had somebody else that they could plug in to help them do this dang thing if something happened to us. I felt not only was it my duty to do that, not only as a father, a business partner, or a husband, especially if something happened to me, but I wanted those people to be able to plug into all of those. Guys, those 5 principles of behaviors, if you do that, I guarantee you, if you do those 5 principles of behaviors and you're consistent in 2 to 5 years, I mean, your life is so far different you can't even bet. I'm telling you what, very few people will even do 15 or more presentations a month. Very, very few. Very few. We got 2 new people on this call just in the last couple of days. Did 1 meeting for one of them, 8 people on a call yesterday. Brand new, been in a couple of days. The other gal's got 3 people in her business and she's been in a few days. They're literally getting people in front of this. And I'm watching, and when you start working with your groups like that, like it's been fun with 2 or 3 different legs, and I've been like Handy's leg, like this last month, it's been fun to watch, right? And the way that they all work together and the way that we're all working together, that's why our group is unstoppable. That's why our system is unstoppable. That's why our tribe is unstoppable, because we all link arms together and we run in the same damn direction. And it's make us unstoppable. If Candy was going in that direction 100 miles an hour, and my wife was going in that direction 100 miles an hour, and Tasha was going in that direction 100 miles an hour, and Dave was going in that direction 100 miles an hour, and Angie's going that direction, Barb's going that direction, we could all be successful at a level, but we'll never hit that great leader of the level of success. Guys, if you serve the masses, you'll live with the classes.
Come on, no jam is off.
If you serve the masses, you'll live with the classes. So guys, I guess I'm going to turn this back over to Candy because I was looking for blue, but I think Marcel jumped on. Candy,
Oh my
thank you guys.
gosh.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys, did you take like 2 pages of notes like I did? I remember sitting on these calls for years and years and just thinking, oh my gosh, one of them is going to say the nugget that I need, and not realizing like how simple this system is and how duplicatable it is. And if you just do the 5 principles and behaviors, it's a 2 to 5 year plan. And the brilliant mind behind that, oh my gosh, I am so lucky to be able to introduce a presidential consultant, Mr. Marcel Niederhauser. I remember just sitting in the audience and just looking at him like, oh my gosh, like, geez, do you guys feel the same way? Like, just putting him up on this pedestal, thinking, oh my gosh, like he knows everything. Like, how can I take his brain and put it into my brain? Because it's all of the years of experience of teaching the principles and behaviors. And when you have an organization where 200 levels deep, you have the same leaders teaching the same system, that's where that duplication happens. So I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Marcel Niederhauser to close out this call. Thank you for being here, Marcel.
Thank you so much, Candy. I appreciate that introduction. And what was amazing for me was standing up there when you were putting me on that pedestal and looking at you, putting you on a pedestal, because I watched you build your business from VIP event to VIP event. And what that means is you was doing the work in between our 90-day get-togethers. And here you are now teaching. And Rob, it was what, 10 years ago? We talked about the principle of behaviors. You guys, that's what I always talk about when I'm teaching people, because that's how I built my business. And the one thing I learned about network marketing was when you find something that works, and it's not script, it's not a magic product, it's not a peer review study, it's not, change of the month club. It's not, there's no secret. It's principles of behaviors. I love what Sarah said. When you teach them and those people apply them, they become the person that other people will follow. And so that's what I want to lead into with Rob. And so I met him a few years ago. Him and Summer, I spoke to him about the principles of behaviors. He's a businessman. He understands. And when he's working that many hours, when we started talking about leverage and duplication and the ability to take yourself and transform that into somebody else, but they can be themselves. And so what you heard tonight from his passion, I heard every word. I'm like a proud dad, and we're about the same age, but I'm listening to him with example after example, living, breathing the principles and behaviors. And he just shared his whole description about what he just shared was a result of owning those. And here's kind of what Candy was saying, and Sarah alluded to this too, and that is I can go down anywhere in Robin Summers' group, and the message I give, the message that he gives is the same message when we get 30 levels below and everybody in between. And that right there, you guys, is how you develop a successful network marketing business. If you can find something, like I've told you guys a million times, when I present or when I get done, the only thing I want those people in that room saying is, if that guy can do this, I'm going to kill it. Because if I can walk out of a room and I've poured enough belief into somebody and they've gotten to know me, whatever, and they feel that they can have a chance of succeeding, I can guide them. I can get them, I can help anybody down this pathway if they do their part. And that's what was illustrated tonight on this call, as you heard from all these leaders. Every one of them went over basic principles and behaviors and topics of the business. They shared examples. They all own it. It's theirs. I introduced it to them. They applied it. They got the results, and now they own it. And here's what I want to say is we get on these calls twice a month, every month for the last 10 something years, 8 to 10 years. I can't remember how long it's been. And we do it for a reason. That's because we understand leadership and we understand providing a place that teaches the correct principles and behaviors for other people to get on. And here's the thing that some people struggle with. And you might have had this yourself is you get on here and you hear these things being taught and you get on 3 or 4 of them, you start hearing the same thing. Right? And then you think you know it all. You need to be on here listening to those, hearing those same things until you're actually doing them. And then when you're doing them, you get the results, and then you start training and teaching on this platform. 10 years is a long time to be consistent, isn't it? I'm telling you that because I'm using this as a teaching example. We do things that work. We do things, we're trying to create an environment where people can come and learn. And so the question, and the reason why we do this is because we believe that those of you that are getting on this call, we believe that you want this business to provide for your family. We believe that you actually want to build this to presidential or some level in between there where you can create some type of financial stability in your life and your family's life and get out of that working from paycheck to paycheck. We believe that. We believe that's why you do this. So the question is do you believe? And here is the best way to actually find out what it is your goals really are and what it is that you really want is you pull out your calendar and you look at it and you see over the last 6 months if you've done 15 or more presentations. If you haven't, then you're kidding yourself. Then you don't really want what you think you want. Your actions will always display what you really think. And that's the beautiful thing about the 5 behaviors. Some of them you might be good at out of the gate. Others you might have to work on. It only took me one time. Gosh, 8 freaking months to sponsor my first person in my first network marketing experience. 8 months. 4 months after that, I was qualifying direct distributor in Amway. 8 months to sponsor my first one. 4 months later, I was qualifying at one of their entry levels that was actually got me on stage and got me teaching other people. So that's a big deal. But during the 8 months, that's where I had to learn everything. That's where I learned that if it's not growing, get 5 more. That's where I learned is you got to meet people where they're at. You got to tell them what they need to hear, but you got to respect them and love them regardless of what they do or don't do. And, Rob made the comment, I've made it several times. I was blown away that people's words didn't mean anything to them. Like I was shocked. And so in the beginning of that, I got a pretty strong personality. I thought it was my job to fix them. And when you try to fix somebody that don't want to be fixed, then you're going to go find 5 more. I learned a long time ago, if they're not asking, don't give it the information. Wait till they ask for it. Goes about a lot better. So anyway, as I was going down that journey in that 8 months and learning everything I needed to learn on how to build this business, I've tried everything. I've done all the scripts. I even tried to do a script one time. I felt like it embarrassed me like no other, calling somebody up and acting like somebody else. Like it was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. This is so and so. I've got Bob in from town and we're working on a project. We'd like to come over and share it with you. No, people that know you, if you act abnormal, they know you're up to something. You're going to try to get them into one of those pyramids. Right? Well, some of you are laughing. Some of you, anyway. So I learned through all of that time, and then what I got good at is I found a way to teach others to be themselves and figure out how to succeed in this industry. And Rob alluded to it. I'm going to give you my version of that is I found not everybody is going to do their part, but everybody plays a part. You hear what I'm saying? Not everybody's going to do 15 or more a month. But if I do 15 or more a month and I work with the people I enrolled and the people they enrolled and the people they enrolled, and you just keep going down, I will always have the ability to do 15 or more a month. And guess what I can find by doing that? I can find the people that will actually do 15 or more a month. Rob, we figured it out one time. I don't remember. How far away from you? How far away are we?
We're 14 under blue. So
Okay,
like
so 15 or 16.
Yeah, under you, yeah.
Okay. And I hope that resonates. You guys, I've been doing this business for 12 years. And remember, it took me a while to get to where I was making the type of money an EC1 makes. And after about 14 years into this, I met Tyler. Add another 17 years, I met Skip Campbell. Blue was in there too. I met Blue before I met Skip. But these guys were years away from me getting started and going through and doing those meetings. I must have by that time done 1 billion meetings before I met those guys. I put thousands of miles on more than one car. Now look, I'm the guy that learned it all the hard way, so you don't have to. But as I've realized too, is everybody, especially some of you guys on here, like to touch the electric fence all the time, and you like to learn things the hard way. But I've learned it all. And one thing I've mastered is I've mastered the ability to build depth and develop relationships in depth to build stability in my business. And then I figured out a way that we could teach it. And I figured that way out through principles and behaviors. And so those 5 things, when you apply them, you grow, you change, you become. You actually become the person that God intended you to be. And I'm not saying you guys aren't, but every person on here has the seeds of greatness. Everybody deserves whatever it is that they want in this world. And if money is one of those things, in network marketing, it's in abundance. When you hit presidential, that faucet turns on, the amount of X's and O's, you guys know what those are. That's how binary, that's how the computer communicates. The number of X's and O's that go into your bank account when you hit presidential are astronomical. Does that make sense? It's mind-blowing. And it does happen fast because we've got fast computers now. But my point is you can have that, but you have to do it. Us as leaders, we've done everything in our power to create every environment that you could possibly think of to plug into and help yourselves get there. You have help. I didn't have this. I didn't have any of this. I had to figure it out on my own. And then when Tyler and I started working together and we started growing and we started each time things changed, we had a little bit more success. And you don't know what you don't know until you get there. I never knew what it was like to be a presidential till I got there. Even at EC4 and EC3, that was great. The money was great, but it wasn't the same as a presidential. And here's the point that I'm trying to make with all of this. By going through all of that effort and having all of those ups and downs. Now, I don't believe there's no such thing as failure. If somebody tells you, no, that's not a failure, that is, they're not ready yet, or you got to sharpen up your skills a little bit more because you can get him later, if that makes sense. But anyway, God, I lost my train of thought. I was going to close the house with this too. Maybe it'll come back to me. But I just know that everything that you do for your future, what you do now determines where you're going to be 5 years from now. And I can't, to me, it makes more sense to get it all done now and continually do it. Don't stop sponsoring. If you're not growing and your business and your group isn't keeping you busy enough, you need to go get 5 more people. I'm telling you right now, when somebody is engaged and they're active and then they disengage, it's hard to get them moving again. And what happens is a lot of us will spend a lot of time trying to figure out that one thing I can say to them to get them to go do what they need to do. And it's impossible. How many of you guys are married? Can you, well, I was gonna say, I just looked at you. I was gonna say, can you get your spouse to do what you want to? But yeah, in some cases that's possible. But my point in saying that is the only person you can change or fix or do anything with is yourself. And Lisa and I, after all these years, we're married about 38 years. Sometimes we still fall back and we try to fix the other person. And it does not work. And then at that point, even though we both do it, then we remind each other, really, you're going to try that again? So, I don't know, you guys. I don't want to keep anybody on any longer. I really appreciate we're getting together in St. George again here coming up shortly. And my invitation to you is to bring somebody with you, well, high heck or whatever. Your goal, and if you've already got somebody coming, then get somebody else. Let the magic of the system help your people to grow while you're still growing. Does that make sense? That's why promoting is so powerful. And this is one thing that I was going to say that I fell short on, and that was I only had, remember how I went down that trying to change and get people to do what they don't want to, and one time, I only had to experience it one time, is I did everything in my power before to get people to do what I want them to do, and they wouldn't. And then I took them to an event. And when they went to the event and got done, they came back and got to work. And I thought to myself, all that energy and all that wasted time and all those dinners and lunches that I paid for, I didn't have to do that. All I got to do is get them to an event. And then they come back and go to work and they do more. Now remember, not everybody's going to do this. So that those of you that have sponsored 5 or 6 people and you done it years ago and you're still sitting on them trying to hatch them and they haven't hatched, let me tell you, they're probably not going to. But if you go find 5 more people, I mean, ask when you get a chance. I'll keep going, but when you get a chance, ask Skip Campbell. Early on, years and years when he first got going, him and I were having a conversation about this exact same topic. And he had a guy over in Denver that signed up and put $5,000 worth of volume in 2 weeks. And this guy was on fire. And then Christmas hit. And during Christmas, the guy went on vacation. He never came back. But every time me and Skip had a conversation, now, if you guys know Skip's in a hurry to hit every pin level and be presidential before anybody else gets there. And he wanted to go EC1, then he wanted to go EC2, right? So he's in a hurry. And I'm talking to him on the phone, and after about the 100th conversation about Garrett not doing anything, if Garrett would just do this, I'd hit this. Now, there's nothing wrong with planning and having it all mapped out, but Garrett wasn't doing anything. And I finally said, ask him word for word. I said, Skip, if you want, I'm your friend, and I'm here to listen. If you want to talk about Garrett every time we get on a call, let's do it. I'll do it. I'll even listen about it. But I'm telling you what, he hasn't done anything for this long. He's probably not going to do anything. Can I give you some advice? And he goes, yeah. Why don't you go sponsor 5 more people? And I mean, we had more conversations about it. And then finally he did that. And one of those people he sponsored led to this guy right here, Biohacker Bert, which led to a Pro 9 business. It actually didn't go to, Bert, help me out. I've lost my train of thought. Who did Skip talk to first? Greg Deeker. Greg Deeker, then Bert, and then Russ and Tracy. Talked to 5. Greg Deeker was the only one that did anything. But think about that. I talked to 5 and I found a Pro 9 business, or almost a presidential.
Yep.
Doesn't that freaking blow your mind, you guys? What we teach, we're like, so many people are afraid to sponsor people. They're afraid to talk to them about the business. They're afraid to talk to them about network marketing. All they want to do is talk about the product. The product is the most amazing thing on earth. And we got a third-party validator that verifies it. But I don't have to try to convince somebody they need to eat Protandim or drink collagen. Matter of fact, one thing I learned about LifeVantage that's different than any other company out there is you don't need to know anybody to build it. You just need to know somebody that has oxidative stress, somebody that has wrinkles, and somebody that's interested in weight loss. That's it. And do those people exist, you guys? Nod your heads.
Yep.
Yep. And remember this too. Once you get your 5 that want to do what you're doing, you might have to sponsor 50 to get it. You've heard my story. I sponsored 50, and out of the 50, half of them didn't even let their cards go through. And out of the other half, 11 people built 2 Pro 10 positions. We sponsored those people in 90 days. Within 90 days, we'd sponsored all those people. Now, you got to understand, I've been doing the business. I had all the experience. When a person comes in and I can take their temperature, I know what to do with them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So brand new, getting to that point, I enrolled way more than 50 people. I've enrolled thousands through my whole career, right? But I know what to do with people, and this is what we're teaching you, what to do with them. So 11 out of 50, 11 built 2 Pro 10 positions. See, when people teach me that kind of stuff, it kind of breaks this down. Well, then what I need to do to build my business is I need to start enrolling people. I need to start doing the presentation. I need to start telling the whole story. And I am just like Summer. If I go to somebody's house one-on-one and they want to talk about product, I talk to them about the product. But before I leave, I tell them there's a business opportunity and I feel obligated to share it with them, or whatever method of madness that I've come up with, depending on how they're reacting. I 100% of the time make sure I show that to them. And if they absolutely refuse, then I don't show it to them. Does that make sense? But who's going to say, hey, there's a business side. Let me just show it to you real quick. If you're not interested, we'll just let you use the product. But you don't ever want to leave a presentation without telling the whole story. So you do everything you can to do it, and then you accept what they give you. So I don't know. This has been an awesome call. There's a lot of excitement going on. I'm more passionate about what we're doing and what's going on in the company. I mean, look, we're going through our ups and downs. We're trying to figure out as a company who we are. And we've always told them we're a network marketing company. We believe that they do the most wonderful thing a company could ever do is they ship your products on time and they send your check to the bank account. That's all we need them to do. Right? And then who's responsible for the rest? Exactly. Let's get out a mirror, look in the mirror. But here's the beautiful part. We're going to all do it together. And so if you love these leaders and everything that they're selflessly doing for you and spending their time, put a 1 down in the chat and let them know, because that 1 means that you love them and you are grateful for them, you respect them, you honor them, and you want to be like them, but you want to be yourself. You just want to have the confidence. Like, I love Rob's confidence. Is he strong? Yeah, I am too. The only thing us strong people have to do sometimes is we got to figure out it's not what we say, it's how we say it. Because I want everybody. But not everybody's going to behave properly. They're going to disobey. They need a spanking. We can't spank them because then we got to go find 5 more. But we love them and we want all the volume. I want customers. All my customers came from, I don't want to build your network marketing company, but I want to take your product. That's it. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I only seen a couple ones. Are you guys sure? You're enjoying this? Okay, I'm just switching to the other page, but I love all these faces. There's a lot of pictures of people on here. We've been together for a long time, and there's a lot of new people on here too. So what I'm looking forward to is the journey that we're going to go on with you. And I'm looking forward to you others that are sitting at the ranks you're at. I want to be there when you go across stage. And I just, when I hear these leaders talk to you about the principles, behaviors, and then I go into their groups and we're 60 levels down and they're all saying the same thing, that's magic. That is pure magic. That is network marketing in its fullness. And you remember, you guys, when you go to the events, our big events at the company, they're like smorgasbords. You're going to learn a lot of stuff, and a lot of people are having success doing other things. And I don't want to take that away. But the one thing that I know, what I do, is when you build it, you don't ever follow a qualification. When you build it this way and you build it on relationships, you qualify the first of the week when they run the first auto ship. And your group gets bigger, and then you stack it leader on top of leader so it never backs up. And then you don't have to worry about those things that happen. And there's other, like there's other ways to do it, but they don't yield the same result, if that makes sense. Because you can't build a network marketing business without leaders. It's just impossible. Now, I mean, one, you know, one of the size you want a residual check for the rest of your life. So, okay. Candy, I'll let you close it out. I know you've got some wonderful things to say, but we appreciate your guys' time tonight.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. It's already 9:41. But what an incredible call. Thank you for all of you leaders who poured into everybody on this call, including myself. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight, for spending your time with us. I would never miss this call. And make sure that you're registered for February 27th and 28th in St. George, Utah. And like Marcel said, make sure that you're bringing a guest with you. You guys, that's where the light bulb moments happen. That's where the belief is built. That's where decisions are made. So you want to get people to that event. But have an amazing night. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we'll see you in St. George.